Welcome everyone to the SNN.Network Australia virtual event. I'd like to introduce you to our next presenter. On behalf of the company Little Green Pharma, publicly traded company, the symbol is LGP on the ASX. We have Fleta Solomon, the Managing Director. With that, Fleta, take it away.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Little Green Pharma presentation. My name is Fleta and I am the Managing Director at LGP. We're in the really exciting industry of medicinal cannabis, which is really gaining momentum, not only in Australia but also in other international markets as well. It's quite different though from the state of play you might be aware of in North America, purely because this is strictly medicinal. So we're talking about pharmaceutical grade prescription medicines only, which because of its quality and national framework, it's rigorously tested and regulated through our Therapeutic Goods Administration. So this is like the FDA equivalent in Australia. And this ensures a standard for finished medicines. So we're currently actually updating this presentation with the latest figures because we've just recently released our quarterly report. So I will need to talk over some of these numbers with the latest presentation just a couple of weeks away. Good, so let's get started. What I'm wanting to highlight to you on this corporate overview slide is that there are two names here that you need to know or just to be aware of, and that is myself, so Fleta Solomon, and also Angus Caithness, who is also an Executive Director. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you is that we own together 19% of the company between us. Now, the reason I want to make you aware of this is that we think like shareholders. So we're completely aligned with your interests and we're super motivated to make this company work and achieve what we've set out to do. It's also important to note that the company has no debt. We have a net cash position now of 4.1 million. So we've had a really good quarter and we've had some R&D rebates come in and our revenue has been significant as well. So the balance sheet is strong and the market cap is now over 50 million and it is growing, so on that positive trend. So LGP in a nutshell is a vertically integrated medicinal cannabis company. So this means we've got our own cultivation and growing facility as well as our own manufacturing facility. And we're also across that supply chain. So we distribute, we educate stakeholders, and we also export internationally. So we're focused only on this pharmaceutical grade cannabis, which is used for treating medical conditions only. And this is really fundamental because we're all about transforming people's lives. So this is our belief, it's our purpose and it's our strategy. It's who we are and it's what we stand for. This is important because we're delivering much needed medicines to patients now across the globe, including those suffering from issues like pain, seizures, anxiety, and even those undergoing cancer-related treatments. But we're also working behind the scenes on a unique drug delivery system. And this is to help solve real patient problems. And also will place LGP as a differentiator in the market. So this is important to us. So we absolutely want to deliver a return for our investors, but we also really want to deliver actual patient outcomes. And this is how we do it. LGP is vertically integrated, so it means we operate across that entire supply chain. This is incredibly important as we can identify opportunities and create value within. So this is what I mean. Looking at the first point here, we've got cultivation and production. So we grow our own plants in the southwest region of Western Australia. And this is indoors and can produce more than 110,000 50 ml bottles per annum. But we're not limited to our own supply. We've actually got established channels to third-party raw materials, so overseas as well as from Australia. And this is for supplemental volume, and this is important for our key strategy, which I'll explain in just a moment. We also have the ability to expand our cultivation footprint further if we need to and double our production output. So this gives the company options. But we're not just growers, we are also manufacturers as well. So we have two things here. One, an exclusive agreement with a TGA GMP manufacturer. So this stands for Good Manufacturing Practice, and TGA, which is Therapeutic Goods Administration. And this GMP certification is obtained from the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration. And it's really important because this is a prerequisite to sell into many countries across the globe, such as Germany. So we've also recently constructed our own manufacturing facility, and this was done on time, under budget, and it's also been licensed by the TGA. So it has that GMP standing or that certification. So this allows us to actually extract our own oils and drive margins further, including flower products, which is something new to our product suite. Again, having the choice of being able to use an external contract manufacturer as well as doing it ourselves is really important because it gives us choice. What lies at the heart of our business is product innovation and the R&D team who are tirelessly working on and developing drug delivery methods for patients. In particular, we've partnered with a university in Western Australia called Curtin University. And this is to develop a medicinal cannabis formulation using a RISE technology. So this, in essence, will aim to provide a slow-release mechanism to benefit certain patients, such as those suffering from chronic pain and need a slow-release type of action. We've also got a top education platform, the medical portal, and an engagement team who educate doctors and other stakeholders, as we recognise that globally this is still a nascent industry. And I believe that education is absolutely paramount for any company or the industry in general to be able to succeed. Finally, I can't stress enough how important distribution is, particularly internationally. And although we have sales in the domestic Australian market, which I'll get to in a moment, and that ultimately pays the bills, but we really want to sell volume export into international markets. And we're a long way ahead of the curve here. We've been through regulatory approvals, we've got signed sales and distribution and consignment agreements across the UK, Germany, New Zealand, and Canada. And in fact, distribution and sales overseas is so important and integral to where we're going that I am actually living in Europe to progress this. And as Managing Director, that's where I'm focusing all my efforts on. So I guess look out for announcements on how we're making solid progress on volume sales into Europe and to other overseas markets, because really this is the prize for us. So everything we're doing in the 4 steps beforehand, before this distribution, is to enable us to create value in this distribution or this 5th step. This is ultimately where the value lies, and everything that I've mentioned is just an enabler to allow us to actually get there. The LGP continues to redefine the medicinal cannabis industry, and particularly in Australia. We were the first company to produce locally grown medicines and then export them. And we had almost 2 years of first mover advantage before another Australian product came on the market. So we've been generating revenue since August 2018. I do want to highlight on this slide the significance of having this finished TGA GMP cannabis medicine. So remember, this means good manufacturing practice, and it's recognised by the EU. This is fundamental for pharma grade quality and those companies that actually want to deliver these medicines into other markets, because not everyone can do this, and it is a prerequisite to sell into countries such as Germany. In fact, there are only a handful of companies across the entire world that can have this capability to deliver into Germany, and Little Green Pharma is one of them. So we've always been proud of having a really lean business model. It's how we started, it's how we grew. We have fiscal discipline of not only capitalising, of not overcapitalising until all of our supply pathways have actually been proven and developed. So we have a good net position, and we don't plan on coming back to the market anytime soon, as we're operating well within our means, thanks to the domestic sales that we have. So our way forward and the reasons why these are our focal strategy points is really clear. Firstly, proven sales in Australia. So increasing sales domestically demonstrates market validity. As I've mentioned, it generates immediate cash flow for the business and underpins the development of international pathways. And this allows us to pursue the bigger prize. And the bigger prize for us, or our primary target, is the generation of commercial sales volumes into international markets. So this is where we aim to make profits. Hence why distribution partnerships and those strategic shipments that we've already made are really important, as it's proving out these pathways. So we've already shipped more than 1,000 bottles to the UK, and we've just sent a second shipment. We're very soon expecting to export over 2,000 bottles to Germany, and it's been a long time in the making. And although these volumes are not materially commercial, they are strategically very important because it proves out those pathways. So what I need you to understand here on point number 2 is that the ultimate goal for LGP is these commercial sales volumes. This is where we're going to make the profits. So I don't want to leave you with any ambiguity as what we're trying to achieve here in this space. So look out for these real driver values. Our end game strategy and longer term play is product innovation and unique drug delivery systems. So I've mentioned previously our strategic decision to focus on pharma grade medicine for real patients with real medical problems. And our innovation efforts, such as the Arrive delivery technology, will allow Little Green Pharma to have differentiation in the market. We'll also have better products, but most importantly, we're going to be solving real patient problems that exist today. So I've just mentioned on the previous slide, we've been selling into the Australian market. And I want to give you a sense of that because it's been growing really rapidly. You can see our continued sales growth, which is consistently strong with a month-on-month increase. We're really penetrating the market in Australia, demonstrating demand and also cementing the role medicinal cannabis has to play in the medical field. And this has continued in the last quarter just gone. So we've now actually sold 25,000 bottles in Australia. So 8,500 just gone in this quarter. So that's a 41% increase on the figures that you're looking at right now. It's important to note that we're probably never going to make a massive fortune from Australian sales alone, and I'm being really honest and transparent here, but it does demonstrate market validity and it shows real world adoption growing at an exponential rate. And this pattern is very highly likely to occur in other parts of the world, and it's what we're starting to see. So saying that, we actually generated record sales revenue of $1.3 million just this quarter gone, with the gross margin sitting at around 54%. So we're expecting this to improve with our internal capabilities, which we've just gained, including our manufacturing facility. So at the end of December, we estimated we had about 11.5% of the Australian market. In June, we think this was more around the 15% mark. And this quarter gone, we believe that we've had about 22%. We think that we've been the leaders. So we now have over 6,700 patients, of which 2,200 are new, and these patients are benefiting from our medicines. So we know that selling into Europe and the other markets is the primary target for Little Green Pharma. So in our view, we need to have raw material or biomass or cannabis flower, and also the manufacturing capacity, which we actually now have in place to deliver. So we have our own cultivation capacity or facility, and you can see in one of the images here, this was when it was first built earlier this year. So that has the capability of 110,000 bottles per annum of medicine. Now, bear in mind that these cells are anywhere between sort of $145 to $180 Australian, and it's more than that in other markets. So we have our own capacity as well as having that additional third-party raw material to supplement our volume if and when we need to. And we can also increase by doubling the production of our facility. We now have the manufacturing capability in-house as well as an external manufacturer who's been manufacturing narcotics for a very long time. And we've owned the equipment in that facility as well as the IP and have our own staff at that facility as well. So we'll continue to enjoy and benefit from using both a contract manufacturer for volume, but also our own internal capability and manufacturing facility where we can produce floss or flour as a raw material and also oils, which we can drive margins further by looking at those production costs. And what I'm going to do in just a moment when I finish is show you some of the recent photos so you can really see the difference of what our facility looks like. But finally, sort of in this, just towards the end of this presentation, what is going to drive value for Little Green Pharma and the sorts of things investors need to look out for are along the lines of things such as delivering our medicines into Germany. This is a tough market, and just to be able to get in is a massive attribute. So we're looking forward to being able to do that soon. Sales into the UK, South America, and even New Zealand and other countries to look out for. And also a large-scale study which is promoting research, awareness and education, which is fundamental for the progression of this industry. So keep an eye out for news relating to that. So it's these types of announcements that will actually demonstrate solid progress to achieve our ultimate goal, which is these commercial sales volumes in other markets. Now, this slide is particularly important because we've always achieved what we said we're going to, and our existing investors are very impressed that this is what we report on. So this slide is significant. What you can see in this next slide is our current product offering, and these are 50 ml bottles of full plant extract cannabis medicines of varying ratios of cannabinoids or the active ingredients that make up these medicines. So we continue to add new medicines to our product suite to not only meet the market, but we also have an innovation team who are constantly working on new products, which is our lead the market strategy. And this will ensure that we are offering different cannabis medicines for patients who have different needs. So it's incredibly humbling to receive patient feedback about how we have not only changed their lives for the better, but also how we've impacted positively on their families. So this is huge. So in closing, look, the team at LGP, they're so passionate, so dedicated to this cause that we just can't wait to see how many more lives we continue to transform across the globe. And this is thanks to our loyal and supportive investor base that we have. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to join me today. Please do reach out to me should you wish to discuss further, because I'd love to be connected. Nothing would thrill me more. In the meantime, what I'm going to do for those that have the time is just to flick through a couple of images of our recent upgrade or our facility, because I just want to show the hospital grade nature of what we have in Western Australia. So this particular room that you're looking at, we have 9 different growing rooms, 2 different mother rooms, 2 vegetative rooms, a lot of R&D rooms, and then a manufacturing facility. So you're looking at one room here which contains our mother plants, and these are the genetics that we choose. We choose the healthiest to then go into our nursery rooms. And this is the next slide that you can see. So once that we have cuttings from our mother's plants, they go into a nursery where they continue to grow in a vegetative state. And I'm going to show you just a couple of different rooms we have. This is using LED lights. These plants are currently in flower and due to be harvested. This is using HPS lights, so a little different to the LED lights that you just saw, but this is because we believe in using both lights, and we're also experimenting for ourselves the significant yield or the difference in yield that is obtained from using such different lighting. And just to get a scope of or an understanding of how big these plants actually are, I'm wanting to show you one of our workers in the growth facility. Just a few more pictures left. There's a lot, obviously, that goes into cultivating and manufacturing medicinal cannabis. So I wanted to show you the hospital-grade nature of our facility. This is drying our plants, getting ready before being manufactured. This is just a glimpse into the hallway and what our manufacturing facility looks like. And finally, the bottling procedure. So it's really a pharmaceutical company. So based on that, that's just to give you an idea that we're across those different supply chains. We have an agriculture business, we have a pharmaceutical business. So we are vertically integrated. It gives us definitely an advantage of understanding where those opportunities lie. So thank you again for joining me. Please do reach out. I trust you've enjoyed the presentation and you continue to enjoy your day. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.